Hello and welcome to another episode of AskFans TV with me, Matt Brown. Now, whilst we all try and recover from the excitement from the game of the weekend, which was Liverpool Man United, we've got a fantastic guest for you, the one and only Mr. Tony Cottee. Okay, Tony, thanks very much for coming in.
How you doing, Matt?
Absolute pleasure to meet you. Let's get on to it straight away. West Ham so far this season. You've been watching them?
I've only watched them live once, I mean, obviously with my role as a TV pundit, especially on a Saturday, I don't get out to see the boys. In an ideal world, I'd go to West Ham every home and away game, but obviously I'm working as the pundit now, so I go as much as I can. I've got my season tickets, and I get over there as much as I can.
Absolutely, and I'm a big fan of Bilic as well. Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, well, he's an ex-teammate of mine, so I'm a little bit biased. We played together back in the 94-95 season, I think it was. And he's a great lad. He's got a very British sense of mentality. I always like any West Ham managers to have some sort of connection with the fans. You know, not everyone can support the club, obviously, but the fact Slaven's played for the club, I think he gets it. He knows what it means to the fans. You know, they're a very passionate bunch down at West Ham, as I'm sure you're well aware. You know, all fans are demanding nowadays, but I think there's a genuine will for him to be successful. And, you know, I think given the time, I think he'll get it right. The problem is he's in the last year of his contract, and we'll have to wait and see what happens.
And we are in that time of year as well.
Absolutely,
where people are starting to panic and press the panic button. So when you played with him, did you see him becoming a coach or a manager? Was he always a studious game?
Well, he was always a bit too clever for us. Like, he's a qualified lawyer, so I think he was far too clever for our dressing room, really. But you could see that there was, well, first and foremost, an outstanding player. You know, a top, not just club player, but top international player. So you could see that there was someone who had something a little bit different. And as I say, with his mentality, I like the fact he came to England and, you know, he wasn't aloof, he wasn't over there and the British boys over there. He was in amongst it all and he understood it. And I think he developed a genuine passion for English football. So absolutely no surprise to see him come back as a manager.
Yeah, and I think Andy Carroll's going to be a big key as well.
If he can stay on the pitch, Andy. I mean, obviously he got sent off at the weekend, which was, I think, disappointing for everyone, really. Yeah. But he gives West Ham something different. There's no doubt about that. And he's a bit of a throwback. You know, he's sort of a player from my era, if you like. You know, when I started back in the 80s, and you know, you had the big tall centre forwards here, there, and everywhere, and they've slowly disappeared. But he's still about, and you know, providing it's channelled in the right direction, he's a real threat.
Yeah, I think him and Hernandez up front could be possibly a great pairing.
See, I know I'm a little bit old school, but I honestly believe that whatever system you want to play, there's always room for two up front. You can play a back four, you can find a system to play two up front, you can play a back three, you can have two up front. Yeah. You know, there's always a way to get two top players on the pitch.
You saying that as a forward, though?
Of course, yeah.
Thinking for yourself there. Well done. And moving to London Stadium as well. I mean, obviously everyone's talked about how that can affect your season, and Tottenham are obviously struggling at Wembley because it's a different thing for them. Were you pleased to see them move? Do you think anyone was pleased to see them move?
Well, you know, I've said this publicly, and I'll say it to you. I think there's not one West Ham fan, being honest, that wanted to leave the Boleyn Ground. Not one, not one, me included. All my memories, all my family history, everything is at the Boleyn. What do you want to leave for? But having said all that, I'm also looking to the future, and you know, the simple stat is West Ham haven't won anything for 37 years. Right. Which is, for me, a club like West Ham is too long. It is too long. And, you know, when you think Birmingham have won something, Swansea have won something, Wigan have won something, Leicester have won something. You know, clubs that you could argue that aren't as big as West Ham, but they've all won trophies. Yeah. So, you know, the point being is I want the club to try and kick on. Now, going to the London Stadium doesn't guarantee success. We know that. But, you know, I want West Ham to compete with the London big boys. If West Ham hadn't have moved, you know, Chelsea are going to a new stadium, Tottenham are going to a new stadium, Arsenal have got a new stadium, you know, West Ham would have been competing with Fulhams and Charltons. And again, no disrespect, fantastic clubs, but I want West Ham to be on the top level of London clubs, not on the middle level.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned Leicester there. A bit worried about them?
Slightly, but I honestly believe, I think in Jamie Vardy, they've got a top goal scorer. If they can get Mahrez back, you know, thinking, you know, concentrating on his football, he's a top player there. Yeah. The nucleus of the championship winning team is still there, so I don't see them having relegation problems. But it's the same old thing. The longer you're in that bottom six, the longer the season goes on, the more difficult. You know, and we know they had had a tough season last year. They had to get rid of the manager to survive.
Do you think Drinkwater's move was a mistake for him?
In terms of playing football, possibly. In terms of moving to London, doubling your wages, you could argue that he's possibly achieved everything he wanted to achieve at Leicester. He won the league championship with them, the Premier League, and then you play in the Champions League. Yeah. Where else is there to go really with Leicester? Because you look at them now, they're in a bottom 6. So I think it was. If I'd have been Danny Drinkwater, I would have gone to Chelsea.
I don't think anyone would have not taken it.
You can't knock him for that.
It's the playing also.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, Matthew. Players, they take the deals nowadays, they get the money. Yeah. But the bottom line is it's such a short career, and trust me, it goes like that. All of a sudden, you blink and you're 34 years of age, and wow, I've got to retire next year. Yeah. And you've got to play as much as you can. And when I talk to players, if I get players that are coming towards the end of their career, and you just say, play as long as you can. Take my advice, play as long as you can, because it's a great career.
So you miss it then?
Do you know what? I miss scoring goals. Yeah. That's what I miss. I don't miss the physical side of it. Right. It's hard work. Believe it or not, it's hard work. Every day, day in, day out. It's very professional now as well. So the players, they're on call, they're on demand every day. It's physically demanding, but whatever I do in my life, I'm never ever going to replicate the feeling of going to Old Trafford, scoring the only goal, and winning 1-0. Yeah. And I scored that goal for Leicester, and we won 1-0 at Old Trafford. And wow!
Yeah, what a feeling!
I can't. No. Whatever I do, I'll never replicate.
So commentating on Southend tonight's not going to be the same.
Not quite the same, Southend Peterborough tonight. But no, listen, I love my role. I always say playing's the best thing.
Let's talk about another one of your old teams, Everton. Ronald Koeman, is he coming under pressure? Do you think?
It's great, isn't it? 3 of my old clubs, and they're all in the bottom 6 of the Premier League. It's a great chat, isn't it, this week? I do fear for him. Yeah. I don't understand the transfer policy. I really don't. I think it's weird because you talk about fans and everyone's got an opinion nowadays, and you talk to any Everton fan, any Evertonian, and they'll say, "Well, we don't understand. We sold Lukaku, scored 25 goals for the last 3 seasons or whatever it was. Sell him, get an awful lot of money, and then buy a load of midfield players and don't sign a forward." And then you talk to Liverpool fans and say, "Well, what's wrong at Liverpool? Well, we're brilliant going forward, but we ain't got a goalkeeper and ain't got a centre half, and yet they don't sign anyone." And you think, well, what's going on? And so, from Everton's point of view, I think it's going to be a tough season up until January. And then in January, they're probably going to have to panic and go and spend a lot of money on a centre forward who may or may not be the answer. Yeah. And by that time, if they're still in the bottom 3 or 4, the fans are going to be very, very edgy. Yeah. Listen, Goodison Park is one of the best grounds in the country to play at. If it ain't going well, they'll let you know. They will let you know.
All right, elsewhere in the Premier League, City are just incredible at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, it was a bit scary watching them play Stoke, wasn't it, at the weekend?
Not half.
Wow.
De Bruyne's passing was unreal.
My only sort of, not worry, but my only thing that I would say about City is they won the first 10 games last year. Yeah. And everyone was getting a bit carried away, and I kept going on the show saying, "Well, hold on a sec, we're only 10 games in. This could quite easily go the other way." And I don't wish it on Man City, but they did. They started really well, and then they sort of dipped, and in the end, they didn't have a particularly good season. This year, I think he's obviously spent a lot of money on the wing backs, which will help things. I would still say possibly from a centre half position, I don't think he's quite got it right. I think you still need company in the team. Yeah. You get company in there with Stones, and then if you're playing Otamendi through at the back or whatever you might be playing, I think it's a lot more solid. But I admire Pep for the way he plays. I mean, because it's almost like he's spent a load of money. He sits the players in the dressing room and go out and play, lads. Yeah. But it's like a school game, isn't it? Where you
got those players, you
get the best players playing against the rubbish players at school, and you say, "Oh, go out, lads, you're much better than them. If they score a couple of goals, don't worry, we'll get 7."
Everton Arsenal this week then. Is that just going to be a case of who's on form or who's not on form?
I've spoke about Everton. I don't know where to start with Arsenal. No, I really don't. I think Arsene Wenger's got to be careful. I think he's been a fantastic manager. He's been at the club, 21, 22 years, whatever it is now. He's left an incredible legacy there, but if you're not careful, the fans will forget that and they'll start to hound him out, and he'll either get sacked or he'll resign, and You know, everyone will go, yeah, well, we're not worried about the first 15 years. All we remember is the last 6 years, and we're rubbish. And you know, for Arsenal, we had the Invincibles in 2004, and we're now 13. It's going to be 14 years down the line. I don't think they've challenged, have they, really, since the Invincible season? That's a long time for Arsenal. And, you know, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm not, but if I'm a gooner, start the season, I'm not thinking, I want to finish in the top 4. I'm thinking, I want to win the Premier League. And once I've done that, I want to win the Champions League. In terms of Everton, Arsenal, I don't know, it could be 4-4 or something. You know, it could quite easily be a 0-0 and get moved off as well.
Let's
so I don't know where to go with that one.
No, England then, World Cup, coming up at the end of the season. What do you reckon? It's frustrating to watch, isn't it, at the moment?
You're trying to depress me now, aren't you?
Sorry, bud.
I went to the World Cup, Brazil 2014. I went as a fan, went with my mates. I flew out. Within 2 days of my 2-week trip, we'd been knocked out. I had 12 days to fill in Brazil, which was quite easy to do.
Yeah,
I had,
on the
Copacabana beach and everything. We didn't have we had a good time. But I thought after Brazil, I thought, well, things can only go up. And then, of course, you then have the Iceland debacle, you know, last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you start? You know, we haven't got time in this interview. I mean,
it'll be all day.
I think a lot of it comes down to the manager. I think the managers over the last 15 years haven't been, I won't say haven't been good enough. I don't think they've been right for the players that we've had. I think we've had some fantastic players. I still think we've got some fantastic players. But football is not an individual game. Yeah.
So when you go and do, you know, a game or in the studio, are the producers advising you to try and say something that might cause a little bit of controversy?
No. Right from the word go, from the first time I went on Soccer Saturday, which was 16 years ago now, the producer, his only thing he said to me, he said, like, that's your chair. He said, that's Jeff Stelling over there. That's a camera. Talk.
Right.
And that was his only advice to me.
Great.
So I think that's the beauty of Sky and the Soccer Saturday show. You know, I always say you wouldn't want everyone on the show to be like Chris Kamara.
No.
And you wouldn't want everyone to be like me or everyone to be like Mercy. You want the mixture.
Team,
it is a team effort. And I think that's why it works, because we've got some real good characters. Everyone has a little say. But you give your opinion, and not everyone likes it, but that's life.
Brilliant. Well, you've been absolutely brilliant with us. So thank you very much for coming.
Cheers, man. Absolute pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks, mate. All right, so this is the 9 Dart Challenge at AskFans. We've had a few. We've had Darren Anton and Mark Lawrenson. Mark Lawrenson is top of the leaderboard with 108, which doesn't sound like that difficult to get, but I'm rubbish at maths. I'm going to use a calculator. Bear with me. 9 darts. Let's try and add them up. Treble 4.
It's not going to be good. 12, 25, 31.
6. Yes, well done, mate. 31.
Need a triple 20.
6. 26.
Get me on now. It's going to be too late though.
That's 26. So you're on 57. 18.
Oh, get it on the board. Rubbish.
18 and 14.
32.
Plus 32 equals 89.
I'm third.
Third out of 3. That's not bad. That's not bad.
I'll take that.
Yeah, well done,
I've played for 25 years.
Mate, thanks for putting
Cheers,
your effort in. Cheers, bud. All right. Before Tony answers your questions, a quick reminder, check out our website, askfans.co.uk. We've got loads of match reports on the weekend, the latest Ask Fans Away Days episode, and our bet of the day. There's also plenty more from last week's guest, Mark Lawrenson, so do check that out. Right, what have you been asking Mr. Cottee? Let's find out.
Okay, your question from Twitter. First one is, who is the most overrated player in the Premier League? I think it's always difficult to sort of run a player down, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of Jordan Henderson. I know he's captain of Liverpool, he plays for England, but I don't know. Overrated, in my opinion, yes, but other people obviously do rate him. Second question is Jose Mourinho good or bad for English football? I think he's good for English football. I've always been a huge Mourinho fan, and you can't achieve what he's achieved in European football and in English football without being a good manager, and I'm pretty certain one day he will win the Premier League for Manchester United. What has been my funniest moment on Sky Sports? I'm sure there's been lots of them. I think they happen pretty much every week, to be honest with you. I think you always forget someone's name or get a name wrong. Even last week, I had the producer shouting in my ear roll that I'd said a name wrong. So I think I'm certainly not perfect, and I do make mistakes every single week, but not everyone notices them. Is it true that I have a scrapbook of all the press cuttings from my playing days? Yes, that is true. My dad first started doing the scrapbooks when I was 7 years of age. I basically got a scrapbook from the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through my youth team days, right up to when I finished playing, which was at the age of 35, 36. Everyone asks, where are they? The answer is in my garage somewhere. Okay, so if I was made the manager of West Ham tomorrow, what are the first 3 things that I would change? Not necessarily the first 3 things, but I would like to get the academy back to where it was. West Ham's always been called the academy. I'd like to see lots of young players coming through the system. It's not really going to happen, but I'd like to see the supporters being pushed a little bit nearer to the pitch at the London Stadium, but we all know where that one is. And thirdly, probably another wish that's not going to come true is to see West Ham playing in the Champions League next season. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Are Tottenham the real deal, or will they bottle it again? Well, first and foremost, I think Tottenham are the real deal. I don't necessarily think they bottled it the last couple of seasons. I think they perhaps should have won it the year Leicester did. Didn't really get close enough to them, and the same with Chelsea last year. I think their biggest problem this year is one thing, and that's Wembley, and I think that unfortunately will stop us. We'll say unfortunately, West Ham fans, really, fortunately, that's going to stop them in the Premier League. I've got £100 to bet on the bottom 3 in the Premier League. Who am I backing this year? Well, I think Huddersfield will go down. I know they've had a decent start. I mean, they'll be far away. I think probably Brighton will go with them. I think Newcastle might survive. But the way they're going, I think Bournemouth might be in trouble. They've got a few forwards who might well get them out of trouble. But there's about 6 or 7 teams. But I've been put on the spot, so I'm going Huddersfield, Brighton and Bournemouth. Get your money on those 3 not going down, because I'm not good at predictions. Of my former teammates, what's my ultimate 5-a-side team? Well, definitely in goal would be Neville Southall, who was the first goalkeeper I come across who actually wanted to play out on field. So even though it'd be a 5-a-side team, Nev would start in goal and he would end up on the pitch. So we'd probably play 5 out on field. I think Peter Beardsley, without a doubt, would be in that team as well. Pete was a fantastic player to play alongside. I think Billy Bonds will get into that team just to bring a little bit of aggression to the 5-a-side team. Frank McAvenny would be up front. He'd be scoring the goals. He was the best striker I played alongside. And I need one more, don't I? I need a midfielder. I'd probably go for someone like John Moncur, maybe, just because he was silky skills. So it'll be a very talented 5-a-side team with not too many defenders, and we probably would lose 8-7 every game. When Charles, you got his chuckling away like. Right, where are we? Just before I retired, I had a brief spell at Millwall. Was that a bit of a weird feeling? It's one of my real regrets in life, I think, playing for Millwall. I actually only made 2 substitute appearances for Millwall, and it was great because I had the Millwall kit on and the Millwall tracksuit. I used to run down the touchline to warm up in front of the Millwall fans, and they used to say to me, "Get warmed up, you West Ham." I can't even say the next word, and that was the Millwall fan. They knew I was West Ham. What I was doing at Millwall, I don't know. Trying to forget it, but you keep reminding me. Okay, last question was, were John Knowles' training methods really as crazy as has been made out? Well, John was a fantastic coach, but he did like to vary things up. I think footballers can get a little bit bored sometimes, and John just tried to vary things for us. So it was a bit strange, some of his stuff. We used to play football with a rugby ball, a bit different. And one of the funniest ones was when we came out one day and we all stood in the centre of the pitch, and he said, "I want to see the last one out of sight." So we all looked round thinking, what does that mean? He went, "Last one out of sight." So we all disappeared. We was hiding behind trees and behind the building, behind cars. And then all of a sudden he blew the whistle and we all had to run in. So it was just John's way of getting your brain working. I think it worked.
Now then, it's time for our fan of the week to take on Tony Cottee in what promises to be a 50% epic, 50% half-hearted game of table football. They'll be chatting all things West Ham at the same time. So let's get cracking with the latest instalment of Fan vs Legend.
Cool. Tony, Louis, nice to meet you.
Louis, how are you, mate? Good to meet you.
Not too bad.
I've got the ball, by the way.
Cool.
So, West Ham fan?
I am indeed, yeah.
Right, so who's going to win in this? West Ham v West Ham, so we've got to be careful here, haven't we?
West Ham 86, West Ham current.
Sounds good to me, right? Good luck.
Right. what do you make of the new ground then so far?
Nearly scored. I actually like the ground. I mean, what we need it to be is like you're not allowed to spin here anymore.
No, none of that.
None of that spinning. I think what we need it to be is like a football stadium.
Yeah.
You know, we all know it was an athletic stadium, really good for the Olympics and everything. But we just need a few more games. You know, like the Chelsea and the Spurs game last year. I don't know whether you went to both those games.
I went to both of those.
Yeah, I mean the atmosphere was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was good. I just can't ever see it being the same. But
well, it's not going to be the same as Upton Park, is it? And we all know that, don't we? But it's. I think. Was that 1-0?
It is, mate. Poor start.
But I think you know it takes time, and I think when. I don't know whether you've got kids, but if and when you have kids, your kids will only grow up knowing the London Stadium, won't they? You know, whereas, my boys, I've got twin boys, they're 19, they're big West Ham fans, and they've been to Upton Park and they've gone through that experience. But their children will be exactly the same. They'll only will know the London Stadium, and hopefully going forward, it will be a good thing for the club because that's what we want.
You want to actually win something for once.
Well, yeah, I know that's the problem because it's been a long time now, hasn't it?
Exactly.
How old are you, Louis? Then
26.
1-1.
So definitely not won anything of
26.
Exactly.
You've only known misery then.
Exactly.
It really is a West Ham fan.
Crap. After crap. In terms of Payet last season, do you think we did the right thing selling him when we did, or do you think we should have maybe tried to let him rot a little bit?
Well, the problem is with modern day football, you can't always keep the players happy, and once they make out that they're going to go, then it's very, very difficult to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So I think David Sullivan made the point that he wanted to, as they say, don't be scoring OGs. That's two to me. No, we won't. No, we won't cut that bit out. But in an ideal world, you want to keep the player and you want to make him sort of earn his money and play in the reserves or whatever. But in the modern day, it just doesn't happen.
No.
So we had to cash in on him, I think, and we got rid of him, and it's a shame because he, as you know, I mean, I don't think you're only young. You would have seen too many better players than Payet.
Obviously, Di Canio's probably stands out for me.
Yeah.
My age, but other than him and Tevez, there hasn't been.
You've not had much to cheer, really, Louis, have you? No. So, which is a shame. So, but hopefully the future will be good as a West Ham fan. And
speaking of that, the current team that we have, do you think any of them would get into, say, the likes of your team from '86 or any other teams that actually did go on go on and actually win something or at least challenge? Do you think any of the current team would get in?
You always like to think that like someone like a Lanzini maybe. I think Antonio's a fantastic player, isn't he? Mark Noble's been a great servant. So I think there's always room. Because it's a winning goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate.
Yeah, there's always room for someone getting into the sort of team. But it's so hard to sort of compare. Hit the post, isn't it?
Yeah. Antonio stands out for me as being really. Oh no. Game. But yeah, Antonio stands out for me as our best current player. Would you agree, or would you say he's your favourite out of them?
I think Lanzini might get there, but I mean, I love watching Antonio. You don't know what he's doing, do you? You've got no chance. You watch the game, I've got no chance. You think, what's he going to do? You never know, do you? But you'd like to think that go forward 10 years at one of those players we spoke about. When you look back at who's your favourite players, and that, you're only young, and you might look back and have one or two of them in your favourite team, but. Listen, being a West Ham fan, you know what that means. A life of misery.
Unfortunately.
You know that.
Yeah.
Look at your face, look, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Only a West Ham fan can say that to a West Ham fan. But you keep the faith and you pass it on. And I told my boys, they're fifth generation Hammers. So I said, you've got to follow your team. And they said, well, we don't win anything, Dad. I said, it's not the point.
No.
It's not the point. You go, it's a day out, you go with your family, you go with your mates.
Exactly, it's definitely not about winning, that's for sure.
Of course it's not. Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Cheers, Tony. Thanks.
Sorry that I beat you.
That's all right, no worries. We'll cut out the second goal.
No, we won't.
It was a draw.
No, we won't. It was an own goal. You know it was an own goal.
All right, we'll take it.
Right, that's it from us for another week. Thanks to Tony Cottee for coming in. And as always, make sure you check out our social media channels, as well as our website, askfans.co.uk. We'll be back with another guest next week, but for now, we hope you enjoyed this episode and all the extra content that will be on our website from this week's special guest. As always, when the gambling gets too much, take it easy and stop. Be gamble aware.